It is day 1 of Fall Into Manga Love, which means it is now time to try and read 35 volumes of manga. Now, I made a slight mistake when I made my TBR. Surprise, surprise. I always do that. I forgot that I had picked up a copy of Not Your Idol. I specifically have not been reading this so that I can read it for the Manga Live week thing, readathon, whatever this is. And then, because my brain has been in like 17 other places, when I put my TBR together, I forgot to grab this book. So, this is actually going to be one of my reads. So 35 volumes of manga, something like that. But to be honest, I'm not actually going to get to read these right away. It is Monday, so that means I do have to work. We're still working from home, which is nice. But I also have a buddy read with Lindsay and Shay of House of Salt and Sorrow, because Shay and my book club is going to be meeting this Sunday to talk about this book. So I need to get this read and finished at some point this week. So I got a little bit of reading to do. I mean, it's not a lot. I can get through this fairly quickly. But today I am hoping to read, of course, Not Your Idol. But then I'm also hoping to get into Sue and Tai-Chain. And I think I can get through both of these volumes fairly easily. I mean, they're both pretty short volumes, so I am fairly confident I can do that. That is going to be my only goal for today. I don't want to push it too much. Maybe get a lot of reading done in this one as well. Otherwise, I am about to start my work day. I'm just going to go feed and water all of the plants first. They're looking a little scraggly because it is the end of the season. I have a few tomatoes that just don't seem to want to ripen, and I'm bound and determined that they ripen on me. So I'm going to go do that. Then I'm going to go and, of course, start working. I will check in if I get anything read. I will probably do it as I finish different volumes and kind of talk briefly with you. And Nissa has woken up, as you can tell. She'll probably be coming and joining me shortly, but I will talk to you soon.
Hi, Gilly. What you doing? You just hanging out?
Anyways, I just finished Sue and Tai-Chain. This is so cute and adorable. You have a young man who has a kitten foisted upon him to take care of for a short while, but he's already has this older kitten, Sue, who's 17 years old. And so this first volume is just them getting acquainted with each other and Sue learning to deal with the energy that kitten brings to the home. It is absolutely adorable and so cute, and I love the way these two cats interact, and I like cute stories like this. But that also means that, first of all, I'm going to go get lunch because it's lunchtime and I want food. And we're just going to look at this dog for a little while as he's just lounging. And then at some point this afternoon, maybe during one of my breaks, I will get Not Your Idol read. And then maybe, I don't know, I'll probably start Alice in the Country of Clover before I do Food Wars, because I'm, as much as I'm probably more excited about Alice in the Country of Clovers than I am Food Wars. So we'll probably start with that one first. But we'll see if I get my breaks during work because, you know, things happen. But so far, I'm off to a good start. 1 volume down, 34 to go. Let's do this. So I just finished the second volume of Not Your Idol, and there's something so extremely raw and vulnerable about this whole series that for each of the times I've finished a volume of this series, I've just had to like sit and contemplate so many things, because it does take a look. This story is a girl who is hiding herself in a boy persona because of an attack she had while she was the center idol in a girl group. And that has ultimately scarred her. So she has a lot of trust issues and she's got a lot of things that she's dealing through. And so this series has been taking some very hard look at things that happen to girls and image and how we value ourselves and where that value comes from and how the rest of the world views us and sees us and expects us to act and all of that stuff. And so it goes into some very dark realms. There's some very dark issues that this series is attempting to tackle, and I really much appreciate that. This is a series that I am definitely going to be following until its conclusion, but it's also a series that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to binge because it's something that just sits heavy with me each time I finish a section of it or something happens. And this one does leave on a hard point in how someone is dealing with an assault and how we all kind of process that differently and how we all end up reacting differently. There's not one true way that a person reacts after something like that happens, and we can't really expect that, and they can swing wildly different directions, and it's just, I don't know, and I think it's I've been getting a lot of feels today because as I was working, I was listening to the new, I believe it's called This Is Paris, the documentary that she now has on YouTube, Paris Hilton, and it goes into some of the trauma that she dealt with when she was younger and how that's like shaped everything up until this point, and how she's dealing with that and how she's starting to confront that. And I think this it ties into this in a way. I probably shouldn't have done all of this emotional stuff all in one day. I need to get back to work. I am going to have a lot of things going through my head as I get back to work. The world is a hard place, guys. There are good and bad people in it, and it's just sometimes those stories just hit really hard. Check back with you later, probably this evening. I think I'm gonna do Alice in the Country of Clover because I think that'll just be a little bit more lighthearted. Not that Food Wars isn't, I just don't want to go in that direction right now, especially coming off of this, because this is directly pointing at a lot of things that Food Wars does. First volume of Alice in the Country of Clovers is finished. It does take place after Alice in the Country of Hearts. The thing about this storyline and all of these characters and all of these interconnected pieces is it is a little tricky to follow at times. Sometimes you feel like you're missing something and it's a little jump cutty and it's a little wibbly wobbly. There were times in this volume where I'm like, which part I thought we were, and then things were. It's confusing if you're not paying attention, and even if you are paying attention, it's still confusing, which I guess kind of leads to the dreamlike quality of Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if it's done intentionally or not, or if I'm just missing something. But here in this next start of the series, continuing in this world, the land has moved. So we're no longer in the Country of Hearts. We've now shifted to the Country of Clover, which means that the amusement park is no longer there. And here we're starting this weird, trippy romance with Boris, who is the Cheshire Cat. And that's okay. I wasn't picking up some of those vibes in the first series. But the thing about these two sets of books, these two sets of manga, is that everyone is very much all over Alice. All of the characters are. They for some reason are super utterly attracted to her. I don't even know. So there's a lot of innuendos that go down, and a lot of clinginess, and a lot of suggestive things that happen, and it doesn't matter what kind of character it is, everyone just kind of seems to want to get a piece of Alice in some way or shape or fashion. There's a lot of eye candy that goes on in this, and there's a lot of interesting moments. Like I said, I'm still trying to find my footing with this because it's trippy. It's trippy as all get out. We'll see where this goes. I really do like Boris, but I'm also a cat person. I don't know. From the first series, I felt it going in a different direction. And I originally, after I saw the synopsis of this next series, I thought, well, maybe we're going into like an alternate universe. But it's not really that. It is kind of just a shift in the story arc. And I'm not sure why that shift happened. I might have to go back and look at the last volume of Alice in the Country of Hearts to see if I missed some things. I don't think I did. But like I said, I sometimes feel like with some of these things that if it isn't translated correctly or if it isn't brought over into English, some of the subtext gets lost. And so things just get a little kooky. And sometimes it's a cultural thing too. If you don't necessarily completely understand what the aim of everything is because it's just not the cultural norm, there are some things that get lost there. But there's just something about these two series that just feel really weird. And part of me likes it because it leaves me digging and trying to understand and find more. Just the refrigerator talking because every once in a while it needs to have its say. Or if it's just me as a reader, I'm completely oblivious to something. So if any of you guys have read this, let me know what's going on if you know what's going on because, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. I might start the second volume, probably will, because I figure I need to read about 5 or so volumes a day to keep on track if I want to read everything this week. So I've got 3 volumes down now. Fia! Which means I can probably do like 3 more volumes of Alice in the Country of Clover. But I think my husband should be on the way home, which means I'm going to start thinking about what I want to make for dinner. And we can say hi to the kitty. Hi, Fia! Now she's just going to inappropriately lick herself, which is why I love cats and why this whole series is just kind of making me giggle because Boris acts very much like a cat. But if I have any more updates, if I do go into any more volumes, I of course will check in with you and you will know my thoughts as I try to navigate this whole shift in the Alice storyline because it's weird. Here's the thing. I'm on day 2 now of Fall into Manga Love. I think I'm going to do it as like 2 different vlogs. I'm going to release, I don't think I'm going to do this daily because I've got too many other videos that I need to do. There are things happening and reviews I need to get done. So this is going to be smushed up into a couple days per vlog. Hopefully, maybe. By the time you're seeing this, it'll probably be about Thursday, if I'm planning correctly. But I didn't read very much more last night. I got sucked into a K-drama called Black. It very much has that Halloween-y, ghosty, horror-y vibe to it. And so I was just very much feeling it. And I was enjoying it too much, and that might be a lot of my week. But that's okay. So I didn't get any more read, but I am hoping to start in on volume 2 of Alice in the Country of Clover. I always put an S at the end of that. I don't know why. I have a couple of different volumes down here with me. I'm hoping to do most of my work down here this morning. I like to switch up which room of the house I'm doing work from just so it feels different, I guess. And Nissa is now looking for where I'm at. We'll see if she finds me before I'm done talking to you. Otherwise, of course, I have work and meetings and all that fun stuff I need to do today. I do have a review book that I do need to get pretty far in today, which is probably going to cut into some of my manga reading. That's another thing. I've got several review things that I need to do along with all of the manga reading that I'm doing, which is why I'm not kind of like whole hog into this whole thing. I'm guessing that a big bulk of my reading is going to get done on Saturday, but that's just a guess. I will, of course, check in when I have finished something. I hope I finished something today, but we'll find out. You will know quicker than I will. I always feel weird when I start out these update clips, but I just finished volume 2 of Alice in the Country of Clover. I think I'm starting to kind of understand what the heck is going on. It is pulling in a lot of things from the first series, and it's starting to clarify a lot of stuff that happened there that I was feeling really weird about. This is published, at least my editions are published by different publishers, so the translators are different. And I'm wondering if, because of that translation, some of these characters are feeling a little different. Because I know Hatter in this version is starting to feel way different than the Hatter in the first one, because he was very moody and grumpy and I hate you kind of feel about him. And then here he's just like, let me have my way with you kind of vibes, which a lot of the characters are in this one. We're very much getting all of the characters fighting over Alice's affection, even though Alice is leaning more towards Boris, the cat. And I get it. This is kind of like that reverse harem kind of stuff that happens a lot in manga like this. I think what I'm struggling with right now is just how, I mean, Boris even points it out to Alice, just how hot and cold she is all the time, how she pushes and pulls in a way that is very confusing. And it's like she wants to start things, but she doesn't want to start things. And I know there's something in her past that's kind of feeding into that, but it's also kind of annoying because you're like, yes, let's start this relationship, but no. But at the same time, I can't fault her for it because she's a lot more slow paced than all of these boys want to be. And it's very much, I feel those vibes. I like that slow, let's get to know each other. Let's not move like 60,000 miles an hour, and trying to get these beings, these wonderland creatures, to understand that sometimes. There's a whole different concept going on there. This one does end in a cliffhanger, so I need to get to volume 3. You just keep getting the doggy cookie clacks everywhere. Love the hardwood floors. They're not quiet though. Can I just take a moment and show off my water-based marker setup? I got a bunch of foam poster board the other day and I just cut it up into sections and I attempted to like tape it in there. It's a little wonky and all kinds of cattywampus on some of the shelving system. It's way easier to find a specific marker now because I've divided it up by brand. So in each of the color sections at the very top, you have all of the Crayola markers. Underneath that is, I believe, all of the Stadler markers. And then you have all of the Zig Kiritaki markers. And then finally, at the bottom of each of the color sections is my Tombos and all of those markers. And I absolutely adore this because, I mean, I have that color book that I set up with all of these swatched out. And I found myself, when I would look at a color, I would have it named and then the brand, and then I'd have to shift through like 200 markers in a color section just trying to find that one marker. And I figured if I divided it into subclasses, it'd be even easier. So that's kind of what happened. And then it kind of emulates this section over here. We have over on that right there, is I finally got a section for just my Faber-Castell Pitt pens. And then that leads into all of my Copics, which have exploded exponentially. And then you have all of the alcohol markers that aren't Copic. So that top rainbow row is a mix of, what are they a mix of? I can't think of off the top of my head. These are Crayola. And then I have some of my, of course, Sharpies. And then these are the things that came in that jazzy art box. These are the Spectrum Noir. And these are all of my Cure colors, my Zig Cure colors. Finally divided up, and I have since acquired a few more sets because I wanted to fill this out a little bit. And then these are the new Tombow alcohol markers. I haven't really gotten to play with these much. Super excited about these. The fact that Tombow is now coming out with alcohol markers is a game changer. I love the size of Tombows. The only thing is, I think they're too expensive for what they are, because we have this Tombow right there. And then that is the same price as this Copic, which doesn't make sense because there I think is a ink difference, just a little bit. So I have only been getting them while they are on sale. All of these, I've waited until they were 50% off or lower. This is not all of them either, so I'm just slowly waiting for all of that to build up. But yeah, just had to show those off real quick because super excited about this new system and trying it out whenever I'm actually back into the thingy bob and not doing Thomas Kincaid. You ready for this? I don't know why I'm being weird. I'm just being weird because I can be weird, and that's the story of my life. Volume 3, Alice in the Country of Clover. Things are very much making way more sense to me, and I don't think you should ever just read the first Alice series because there's just too much, and it's just weird, and I do like the way this publisher is doing these editions more than I have liked my other two versions of Alice in the Country of Hearts. And plus, these ones have colored sections in the front that I think are just absolutely amazing. Here we get to see some of Alice's growth and some of Boris's growth as everything is going down, and it's starting to play with some of the memory things that were really driving me nuts in the first series. I'm like, why are you flashing to these things if you're going to give me zero information about what is going on? So I'm hoping by the end of this series right here, I'll have more clarification of why we are getting some of those flashes and what Nightmare and all the rest of them are kind of hiding from Alice. They know things that us as a reader, we don't know, and Alice can't remember for whatever reason. Hoping we get clarification. And it feels like we're going to be getting clarification in this read. But I am now going to go and make lunch. It's that time of day. I'll probably continue working upstairs now that a majority of my meetings and stuff are done for the day. And I can kind of just lounge and become a couch potato and work from the couch and make sure the animals don't destroy the house. Number one goal, don't destroy the house. It's time to feed the animals, so you're probably going to start hearing them go a little bit crazy. Fee is already ready, but I did manage to get volume, I believe this is 4, and it's upside down, so that's cool too. I finished volume 4 in Alice in the Country of Clover. We have reached the adult content in this manga series. Up until this point, it's just been very suggestive, but this point, both Boris and Alice have confirmed their relationship. It's done in an almost like PG fashion. I mean, it was suggestive, but not really that showy, which is interesting. It's kind of a weird feeling dynamic when you get to something like that in these, but we're also starting to see some serious changes in Alice and some serious changes in a lot of characters in all of Wonderland. And of course, the assembly has ended at this point, so violence has re-entered the equation. We have 2 more volumes for them to clarify what is going on with Alice's sister and all of the memories and all of that stuff going on. And it's gotten to the point where it's dragged it out so much that it's just, I need to know. And I think that's the only thing that at this point is kind of driving me nuts. And I don't want it to end like Alice in the Country of Hearts because it's gonna be too much and I need to know. But I'm gonna go and feed the animals. The dogs haven't realized I stood up yet, which is kind of nice. And Cats are waiting on their cat tree ready for food. So I'll feed them and maybe I'll be back today. Maybe I won't. Depends on how all the rest of the evening goes. I still have my book I need to finish, and then I'll probably get sucked back into black, but that's fine. It is day 3 of Fall into Manga Love, and I've officially decided that I am going to release this first section of vlogs on Friday. That is my goal, to have Monday through Thursday on this first vlog. I didn't read any more last night. Are you guys really that surprised? Probably not. But that is not gonna stop me from carrying on. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hit about 3 volumes of manga a day during the work days, especially with this one right here. I tend to take this one a little slower just because I need to understand what is going on. There are so many weird things. But with that said, I only have 2 volumes left of this. So I want to finish these today. And then I will start my interesting journey into Food Wars. Right now, I've only got 2 volumes that maybe I'll read today. I have a feeling that I'm gonna go through Food Wars a lot faster than I do everything else I've been reading. So I'm probably, at that point, when I switch over to Food Wars, I'm probably gonna hit about 4 or 5 manga a day during the workday. I don't know. It depends on how excited I am about them. So that is my goal for today. I'm also thinking about playing around with membership options on YouTube. I do have that ability. I've never turned it on, but I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks and playing around with what options I could, set up or offer, and all the graphics and stuff involved in that. So maybe that'll go up this week, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll just play around a little bit more on that. I just kind of wanted to casually mention it in these vlogs in case it is something that I do end up doing. It's just one of those things just to kind of help fund making these videos, because at this point I'm making a lot more videos a week than I ever thought I would do, and spending a lot more time editing than I ever thought I was gonna do. So it's just, if you want to support, that's fine. If not, no judgment, but I am thinking about turning on that membership feature and just kind of getting a feel for what happens there. But beyond that, it's just a normal work day. I don't have any meetings this morning, so I'm going to start out with that couch potato right there, working up here. I'll probably shift downstairs at some point because I have a couple meetings that I need to do, and I will see you as soon as I finish my first volume today. I always feel like I do a update around lunchtime, but here it is. Lunchtime update. I'm about to get up and go make myself lunch, but I did finish this volume of Alice in the Country of Clover. This is volume 5. We got some flashback story in this one that kind of explains a lot of what I felt was missing in the development of Boris and Alice, because in the first series, I wasn't picking up a lot of those notes, but throughout this whole Alice in the Country of Clover series, we've been getting some of these side stories where we are seeing Alice and Boris and their interactions outside of everything that happened in the first series, which is nice, but sometimes I feel when that's done, it's because we're trying to justify a lot of the things that are now going on because we want it to work and not because it is something that was originally there. And that might be it. Like I said, the first series was just kind of weird and all over the place. I do think at some point I want to do a reread after I finish this series. Knowing more, I might pick up on some things in the first series. I don't know, but that is a possibility at some point, is to go back and reread. But that being said, this current volume, besides giving us some more backstory, we also once again left on an interesting cliffhanger before we jumped into the side story. I have 1 volume left. I still have a lot of questions. Will those questions be answered? I don't know. I don't think there's any more in this universe, but I might have to do some digging. Like I said, I think I need to do a reread of the first series and then this series together in one, all at one point, because I feel like there was this weird side story in the first series, and I thought it had connected to this series, but maybe I'm wrong and maybe there's some like 1 or 2 volume spin-offs that dive even more into the nonsense that is this series, this universe, this whatever. I always feel like I end up having to do a lot of digging to figure a lot of this kind of stuff out. It's certainly an adventure sometimes trying to understand the breadth and the length of a manga series or a universe such as this, because I know there are some really epic manga series out there, and digging into that can sometimes be a little complicated, which I think can sometimes lead to why people are a little weary of getting into manga. And it's not just manga that do it, it's sometimes graphic novels or epic fantasy series. I mean, that the breadth of the world is so captivating and it's got so much built up that later down the line, it's hard for new people to come in and try to find their place in that world if they hadn't gone and picked it up when everything first started. And if no one sits there and explains where to start and what to expect, then sometimes it's just like, what am I missing? But that was just a random side tangent. I am going to go eat food. Yeah. Someday I'll actually get this correct, because as soon as I stop recording and I put the next volume, volume 6, into Goodreads as started reading, I realized there was a 7th volume in the Cheshire Cat Waltz. And for whatever reason, I had it marked as owned on my Goodreads shelf. So I have been digging all over the place. I don't actually have this volume. I'm gonna have to see if I can get that before this whole readathon is over. In the process of trying to pick up that next volume, I also realized that there's a whole bunch of offshoots. In the actual country of Clover itself, there's a couple of like 1 volume sets in that, and then there's a like the Knight's Tale in the Country of Clover set, and then there's this whole thing of Alice in the Country of Joker that I didn't even know was a thing. So this universe is way more massive than I ever really expected. Some of the volumes I don't know when or how or if I'll get my hands on them, because they're asking for like $30 to $40 for this small single volume. But I find myself in a pickle. I want to know more of the story. I do, because I have a feeling that this stupid series, this thing right here, I'm definitely not going to get the answers I want in just this volume. And I don't know if volume 7 is going to give me all the answers I want. I don't know how the rest of the manga actually fit into everything else going on. And I have a feeling that if I want to know what the frick is going on with Alice and her sister, I'm gonna have to pick up more. But I'm also kind of confused on how things shift when we go into more of the stuff and how timeline and reading them is supposed to go. So that is my life right now. I'm back. And I think I'm starting to understand what is going on. There are like 27 different volumes that I don't currently have on my shelves after digging into everything that's going on. So apparently at some point, this whole thing was a dating game where you're Alice and you choose kind of the path of everything. And the manga, I believe, kind of took on that tone where you don't have to read all of them. You get to pick and choose which volumes you pick up, which then determines who Alice ends up deciding to pair with and how the story unfolds or something like that. So it's not going to be a linear progression through all of the manga. Sometimes if you choose certain series, she's dating Nightmare, sometimes she's dating Ace, other times it's Hatter, and then there's other characters introduced at some point because the land moves and she's thrown into a complete state of amnesia with characters and who and what and where and why, which might be why I am so utterly confused with this whole thing. Like I said, I felt nothing with the first series and come with Boris and Alice, and then coming into the Cheshire Cat Waltz and Alice in the Country of Clover, all of a sudden I felt like, I'm like, wait a minute, when did we get to this point? What what did I miss? And I suppose that kind of explains why a lot of the flashback story is happening to build up some of those relationship things. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna get conclusions on what the heck is going on with Alice's sister, because I don't necessarily know how to go in the direction to get that, and which storyline, story arc is gonna be more well-rounded in that aspect. I know Nightmare knows some things, so maybe his, but at the same time they're trying to get her to forget some stuff, and it also explains why some of the characters suddenly don't feel the same, because they're kind of not, because we kind of tore ourselves away from a completely different storyline and started to build it in a different direction. This is confusing. I'm trying to decide. I should probably at least finish the Cheshire Cat waltz. But should I get the rest of them? Should I continue on this path of madness into trying to figure out what's going on and what the other series and one-offs mean? I don't know. And yes, I am still allergic to cats, even when they're hairless. So as you can see, I'm kind of breaking out right now. But I love her anyways. Nissa is my baby girl. Things just happen. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm all over the place. I'm gonna stop babbling now. I still haven't had lunch. Okay. Volume 6. Reddit. 7 is on its way. Should be here on Friday, hopefully. Depending on where that part ends, I'm gonna hold off getting any more in this universe. I have it on my list of things to possibly pick up at some point in the future, but I don't think I'm going to, try and mass buy all of them all at once. I mean, I originally got both Alice in the Country of Heart and this Cheshire Cat Waltz in Alice in the Country of Clover from a library book sale a year ago. And maybe if additional volumes show up at that sale, I will follow the paths that those manga volumes go in. I don't know if I want to. I'm conflicted because, like I said, I don't know what kind of information I'm gonna get in the next one, but I have a feeling, a very strange feeling, that it's gonna end kind of like the last series did, because now that I understand what is going on, the last series was kind of the start of Hatter's and Alice's romance. It kind of ended in a really weird point, but the final decision was made that she was staying in Wonderland. And that's probably where Cheshire Cat Waltz is going to stay, but she has a more formalized relationship with Boris in this series than she did at the end of Alice in the Country of Hearts. This series, the series right here, doesn't actually continue off from the exact end of Alice in the Country of Heart. It's almost in the middle where it branches off from, because she made the decision to stay at the amusement park rather than staying at the clock tower. And that's when things start to deviate. And now that I understand that, things in this series make way more sense, and how they connect with things in the other series, because Alice in the Country of Heart, she made the decision to stay in the clock tower, which then turned and led her to start this sort of development with Hatter. It never really became anything too formal, but Hatter kind of kidnapped her back into Wonderland, and it's kind of assumed that that relationship starts to build out from there. Whereas here, that never really happened. There's a side story at the end of this one where we see the ball that happened at one point in Alice in the Country of Hearts. We see a different version in this one, in which she's starting to test the water with Boris instead of kind of testing the waters with Hatter at that ball. And I guess it kind of also starts to explain why personalities are slightly different from that series to this series. In the first series, at first I thought it was all translation, but I think it's just because of the paths that are chosen. In the first series, Hatter is this very... It's starting to play with a relationship that's that typical bad boy kind of pushy love-hate relationship kind of thing, and that's the kind of dating relationship storyline, story arc that one starts to tackle. And so Hatter is very much, he's hot, he's cold, he pushes her in some very mean ways that I think are very stereotypical of at least a character in dating games and also in like 90s anime and manga. But here at that branch point when she decides to stay at the amusement park, Boris and Alice, the cat and Alice, their relationship is more about that he's constantly like not necessarily understanding where she's coming from, but he's a cat. He's a cat. So it's that like hot and coldness where Alice is wanting stuff, but she doesn't know how to pursue it because there's a lot of other backstory. So both of them are always running a little hot and cold, but it isn't that mean bully kind of start of the relationship that she had with Hatter. Here it's more of those like that off and on, start, stop, go, anxiety, pull of will this relationship actually be a thing? And so I can only imagine how the storylines would go with all of the other side characters. There are some that I'm probably more interested in than others, but like I said, I don't know if I'm going to actively pursue picking up more of this universe now that I know how all of this is actually being set up. But if it falls in my lap, I'll probably read them. That being said, I still have more work to do, so I'm going to get back to doing that. I, at some point, may start Food Wars today. I'm not getting as much reading time as I anticipated today, so I don't know how everything is going to fall off. Holy cow, is this a roller coaster? Volume number 4, right? 4, yes. Volume number 4 of Food Wars. Getting back into this, I feel like the fan servicing in this volume wasn't nearly as prolific as the first couple of volumes, even though this cover. But still, I really do like the food concepts and some of the recipes and how they talk about food in this. Just picking up little tidbits here and there. Here is mostly the kids are still at the camp at the resort. They're still doing a whole bunch of food-related tests that may or may not get them kicked out of school, and it ends in a place where we're not 100% sure Soma is going to pass this current test that they're in. So the next volume, I'm assuming, is going to play that drama out. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to start the next volume or not yet. I probably may start it. I don't know if I'll finish it, but of course, if I do, I will totally let you know. Albus is going to do the video recording with me today because someone won't stop chewing on his feet. So I'm going to have to get him a cone. But otherwise, it is now Thursday, which is day 4. I only got the 3 that I told you about read, but I did get halfway-ish through volume 5 of Food Wars, so I'm definitely going to finish that today. I pulled the next 3 volumes just in case. Maybe I'll get all of those read as well. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same as the last couple of days. I don't have any huge new thing to update you on, though I did start looking into the membership stuff, and I've got a lot of the graphics already set up for it. I just need to do an announcement video. Probably end up doing that on Saturday, and then, or Sunday. Probably Sunday. More like Sunday. And then at some point in early October, I will launch the new membership program because I think it'll be good. Probably enjoy some of the things I'm planning for it. But other than that, I am just going to get to work. I'm going to get reading and we'll see what happens. Update number 1 for today. I just finished volume 5 of Food Wars. Here we have Soma. He's on vacation from school for a little while, and when he goes back to air out the shop, things aren't looking good for his street market because there's a new fried chicken place that has just opened up, and it's pulling all the traffic, and a lot of people aren't coming to their street market anymore. And so they decide to concoct this plan to bring everybody out, and it, of course, made me extremely hungry for fried chicken. And then, of course, after he goes back to school, there are connections at the school that played into everything that happened between the new fried chicken place and the street market, and that might have some politics being involved that'll later affect Soma in the future. Still really enjoying the food, liking that there isn't, I mean, I've kind of gotten used to the fact that one of these characters just randomly walks around in a loincloth just 'cause. and there isn't as many fan servicing moments as there were in the beginning, and I think it's because the storytelling is taking over a lot more. We don't have as many food tastings as we did because we're starting to build up some things. So I am enjoying this. We haven't really touched on Dad for a while. We got to see a little bit of some stuff in the last volume, but I really, the Dad storyline, that's what's really pulling me through this one. So we'll see where the next couple of volumes go for this. Sometimes I feel like all I have to do is mention that I want something to happen, and it happens, because this volume we finally get to see Soma's father come back, and we start to learn some of his backstory and how he actually attended this school, and he was actually one of the top students there for a while. It's really interesting that he doesn't know a lot about his own father, and he's just kind of learning all of these things. And from what I can gather of some of the things going on, his dad has a lot of history with the school and some of the other students in the school, which, if we get to see that play out, could be kind of fun. But here we get to start to see them try and figure out what they're going to do for the Fall Classic, and then just at the end there, they're starting to get into the Fall Classic, so we'll see the conclusion of at least this first round of the Fall Classic, where only 8 of them are going to move on, and they're all making curry dishes. And I feel like at the end of each of these volumes, whatever dish that they're like really hyper focused on, I always feel like I want to go out and eat some of it because it looks and sounds delicious. And if this book could smell like the food it talks about, that would be amazing. This is going to be my last update for this section of the Fall into Manga Love vlogs. I didn't get anything more read yesterday. This is Friday morning. I wasn't feeling the greatest, and so I just kind of let my body decide what it wanted to do, and that was definitely not reading, at least not that kind of hyper-focused reading. So I'm gonna end this vlog here. I've officially read, 11 manga? I don't know my page count. It's somewhere maybe 2,000 or something like that. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you in the next section of vlogs. See you soon.